Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska, and my name's Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. Multiple firefighters responded to a grass fire Monday afternoon in Adams County. The call came in just before 3 p.m. Multiple crews responded to the blaze south of the town of Juniata. The fire jumped Prairie Lake Road, moved north into a cornfield. Adams County emergency officials say 2 tractor discs in the field helped contain the fire. Emergency officials say firefighters worked to put out hot spots by a small ravine west of the property later in the afternoon. Authorities say there was no structural damage. No injuries were reported. A group of protesters lined up outside the Gage County Courthouse Monday in opposition of a ruling in the latest chapter of the saga of seized horses in Gage County. The 37 horses seized will be auctioned off on Tuesday, and no criminal charges will be brought upon Jennifer Glazeman, from whom the horses were seized. Carrie Jones of Wymore says she disagrees with that decision, adding she hopes the horses find their way to a good home.
It's just appalling to me, obviously, just to see what she did to the horses. I reported her 2 years ago and nothing ever was done. Continued, and just want those poor horses to go to a good home and not give her the chance to get them back. And also, hopefully, we are able to convince the state that she should not be able to renew her license come April.
The animals will be sold at the Palmyra Livestock Market Tuesday afternoon. A 7 followed by 12 zeros. That's the size of the 2025 annual budget the White House outlined Monday. $7.277 trillion. Emily Schmidt shows what's in the plan and how it's already creating political debates in this election year.
Good to see you all.
While President Joe Biden can only be in one place at a time, like this campaign stop in New Hampshire.
Look, I'm here in New Hampshire to talk about the budget I released today that would, what I think, help in a big way.
The president's budget popped up all over Washington Monday, with federal agencies touting their hopeful pieces of the fiscal pie.
This year's FY25 defense budget request at $849.8 billion would build on and advance generational military investments we've put in motion over the past several years.
Our U.S. DOT budget request of $146.2 billion would allow us to continue advancing work on a number of areas.
The White House says its budget raises taxes on corporations and the rich, reduces drug prices and child care costs, and cuts the deficit by $3 trillion over the next decade. But all that requires congressional approval. And as the Deputy Secretary of Defense noted,
Congress has not yet passed the FY24 defense budget.
An election year further complicates matters. Likely Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump seemed to indicate Monday he's open to reforming Social Security or Medicare, though he promised not to touch them in the past.
There is a lot you can do in terms of entitlements, in terms of cutting, and in terms of also the theft and the bad management of entitlements.
The bottom line is he's still at it. I'm never going to allow that to happen.
Political capital on the line, along with trillions of taxpayer dollars. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
Well, if you live in a rural area of Nebraska, there's a possibility your access to medical care could change. Andrew Pfeiffer explains.
Hospitals in Nebraska are struggling, especially those in rural areas. According to a report from Chartris, 40% of hospitals in Nebraska are facing the danger of closure due to rising costs and shrinking communities.
If you close a critical access hospital down in a small town, it basically kills the town.
Hospitals across the country are facing financial struggles, but CEO and president of Columbus Community Hospital, Mike Hansen, is watching the problem unfold here in Nebraska.
Nebraska hospitals are struggling. About 51% of our hospitals are in negative margins right now. We're one of the fortunate ones that is not in a negative margin, but our margin has tightened significantly.
However, there is a way to receive federal funding. It's called Rural Emergency Hospitals. By cutting inpatient services, these hospitals are able to receive their funding and continue to provide emergency care. According to Jeremy Nordquist, the president of the Nebraska Hospital Association, there are several reasons why so many rural Nebraska hospitals are in the red. The struggling economy, COVID, and a 34% raise in the cost of medical services and staffing.
So if things get worse, you're going to probably see a lot of hospitals start to reduce some of the community benefit they provide.
There is currently an effort to manage the issue in the Nebraska state legislature. LB 1087 is a bill to help support the cost of Medicaid. It has one more round of voting to get through before it lands on Governor Jim Pillen's desk. Nordquist says Pillen has been an avid supporter of funding hospitals.
We think this additional federal money coming in through our Medicaid program can really be a lifeline for many of our hospitals trying to maintain those critical healthcare services.
According to the report from Chartreuse, it listed 29 hospitals in Nebraska that are at risk for vulnerability. Without moving away from the critical access system or receiving federal funding, those hospitals may soon not be around. Reporting in Norfolk, Andrew Pfeiffer, News Channel, Nebraska.
An embattled member of the Nebraska government is retiring. Jim Macy served as head of the Department of Environment and Energy for nearly 9 years. He's stepping down from government work. That's according to a news release issued by the governor's office on Monday. Macy was appointed by former Governor Pete Ricketts, reappointed last year by current Governor Jim Pillen. His reappointment wasn't without pushback, though. State Senator Carol Blood called into question his handling of a failed ethanol plant near Meade, leading to polluted air and water in the small Saunders County community. Ultimately, he was approved 38-0. 8 senators abstained. Macy's last day will be April 19th. Meanwhile, Thad Finneran, currently Chief of Staff for the Adjutant General of the Nebraska National Guard, will serve as interim DEE director starting April 1st. Not a good year for Nebraska last year when it comes to scams. Lending Tree says that Nebraska residents lost nearly $17 million due to fraudulent activity in 2023. Those losses came from over 11,000 fraud reports in the state, each loss averaging nearly $1,500. Experts with the Better Business Bureau estimate the number could be higher, but several fraud incidents go unreported each year. The Better Business Bureau says the most prominent recent scam has been in cryptocurrency, since that's harder to track. TikTok may soon be taken away. There's a push in Washington, D.C. to potentially get rid of the popular social media platform. But there's some bipartisan concern with how the movement's heading. John Lawrence has more.
Lawmakers in the House are gearing up for a floor vote Wednesday that could potentially prohibit the use of TikTok in the U.S.
TikTok poses a threat to America's security, poses a threat to our children and the future of America.
If the bill gets enacted, TikTok will have about 5 months to break away from ByteDance, its Chinese-linked parent company.
We know that people enjoy the platform. We know small businesses use the platform. But having, the Chinese Communist Party have access to data, have the ability to push messages and push propaganda does put our security at risk.
However, senators from both parties say they'd like some changes to the legislation.
I'm not sure that this is the answer, but if the House passes a bill, look forward to joining that debate and discussion.
Well, I still have concerns about naming a specific company in legislation, but it feels like this House bill has momentum.
TikTok has called this House bill an attack on users' free speech rights, and CEO Soji Chu has been trying to get in contact with U.S. senators, according to a source close to the matter. The ACLU issued a statement saying a potential ban on TikTok would violate the First Amendment rights of millions of Americans. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Last week, residents of Hastings submitted their votes on what the design of their remodeled city building should look like. Monday evening, it was up to the city council to approve the winning designs. Voters had a total of 8 different layout combinations to choose from, 4 different interiors and 2 different exteriors. City administration say the first exterior choice pictured here had the most votes, 16 more than option 2. As for the 4 interior choices, residents chose this one, the dark wood and dark backdrop option, which gained 55 of the 112 total votes. After a short discussion between city council members, they unanimously passed the voters' recommendations. As for the building itself, still under renovations because of mold and asbestos. The city says the mold and asbestos remediation is almost done. Architects now will be finalizing the official design plans by the end of May, hoping to take project bids in June. Progress is on schedule. City officials say the building should be fully reopened by March of 2026. Well, the Co-op high school swim team in northeast Nebraska adding a new member to its ranks. Ryan Pattee has more.
A new school will be joining the Norfolk Public Schools boys swim team after a decision made Monday night. On Monday, the Board of Education in Norfolk took up a number of issues, including 2 of which that involved their co-op swim teams at Norfolk Public Schools. Norfolk Public Schools has 2 swim teams, one for boys and one for girls, that is made up of a number of schools. The girls team is currently in a co-op with Norfolk Catholic, Lutheran High Northeast, and Wisner Pilger. That co-op team was renewed for 2 years on Monday night. The boys team has a current co-op with Norfolk Catholic and Lutheran High Northeast, and now has added Wayne High School. As part of their 2-year renewal agreement, the boys team has dropped Wisner Pilger from its co-op list because no students at that school were interested in joining. The board also added that a co-op team can only be comprised of 4 teams, which is why Wisner Pilger was removed. The girls team will take up consideration of adding Wayne High School to their team in the next 2 years once the lone student from Wisner Pilger ends up graduating, and if there is no more interest from Wisner Pilger to have the co-op team. Reporting in Norfolk, Ryan Pattee, News Channel Nebraska.
And we got a chance to see the state's best basketball players square off the past 2 weeks on News Channel Nebraska. On Saturday, Bellevue West, Omaha Scott Catholic, Wahoo, Amherst, Johnson Brock, and Shelton all claimed boys hoop state titles. So what's next for the NSAA? State speech. The state's best competitors in the activity already started booking spaces in the state competition over the weekend. District contests began on Saturday, continue through Friday. The state competition will be held in Kearney next week. That's the final state competition before spring sports and activities get underway for the NSAA. You can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com. Click on the News tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day. You're watching News Channel Nebraska.